can't just let your word genocide go because it's not a genocide. If it was a genocide, it would have ended 2 days later and it would have been fine. Everyone would be dead.
Welcome everybody to the Skyfall Sessions, where I come through and do some commentary on political conversations and debates. I'm here with Jubilee's video, watching a debate between Trump and Harris supporters on various topics. This is led, again, like I said, by Jubilee with Jon Regalado, the host of the Radical Empathy podcast. Yeah, without any further ado, let's get into it.
I mean, I'd be lying if I said if Trump came out in a crowd and just started, yelling at people, calling them stupid, or like did something crazy, that I wouldn't still vote for him.
And already this highlights my issue with Trump supporters and kind of this Trump era politics. Nothing against him specifically. I don't know this guy at all, and I just started watching him in this video, but already from the jump he's saying that, yeah, I would support Trump pretty much no matter what he says, if whether he calls people stupid. But the thing is, these things escalate, and they already have escalated. Trump's already used terms like ish-hole countries to describe other what he calls third world countries and countries that aren't America, countries in Africa and such. He's already demonizing people who are coming over the southern border in a way that's xenophobic. It's not just about immigration. He's being xenophobic, like a lot of his political comrades are. So this is kind of my major problem with Trump era politics right now.
It would have to be like walk out in Times Square, shoot someone in the face kind of thing. Like, it would have to be something outrageous for me to not vote for him right now, and that is only because these are the only two choices I have, which sucks for us as American people. We should have a lot more choice in this. We should have had more debates. We should have had more people involved in the debates. It would take a lot for me not to vote for him, just because I care so much about securing our country and my right to own firearms.
Now, aside from the firearm bit, I actually agree a whole lot more with what he said here. A lot of people are what this guy is. I don't think he's an extreme Trump supporter. I think he supports Trump, sure, but I don't think he's an extremist. He seems like more of a middle ground American person. Sure, a Republican, sure, but he seems like the Republicans that I can kind of talk to on a regular. I think I like this guy a lot more just based off of that statement after just a few minutes. And I think that these are the kind of people that we can have dialogue with. The issue are these far super extreme people on the right that you just can't have any conversation with because they're just not operating in a fact-based world. This guy seems a whole lot more on. So I think I like Joe so far.
So for me, we know Kamala's character. And so even thinking if she does the worst thing ever, would I still vote for her? Yeah, because I know the worst thing that she could do wouldn't even be the best thing that Trump does, right?
See, I almost disagreed with her statement here because in reality, obviously, I wouldn't support if Harris did just absolutely anything. Like if she went out and shot somebody in the face, I wouldn't support that. But if we're operating in a world of reality, in our real life, the capacity for Kamala to do those things are very low based on her track record. However, based on Trump's track record, he's already done those things. He's already called other countries ish-hole countries. He's already banned Muslims from the country for an amount of time. He's already called obvious white nationalists very fine people. He's already invited Nick Fuentes to dinner. He's already falsely claimed that 5 black people killed somebody when they didn't, and then continued to perpetuate those lies after he learned more information. He's already said that Obama was not born in the United States. He's done so many things that I haven't even mentioned, not to mention his countless lies that he tells on a regular basis. So yeah, I think that with that framing, that yes, I think I agree with her statement a lot more.
Wouldn't even be the best thing that Trump does, right? Like the bars are very different. In addition to that, of course I'm going to vote for her because Trump is such a terrible alternative. I'm afraid to see what our country would look like.
I'm voting for Kamala for pragmatic reasons. January 6th made Trump ineligible in my eyes. He's a traitor. He disrupted 200 years of peaceful transfer of power for his own selfish reasons that he now admits that he lost by a whisker. Sarcastically, according to him.
Okay, so obviously I'm a left-thinking person and I'm biased, but I can already tell you right now that I probably am going to agree with Eric the most in all of this because he's laying out the real facts. every conversation that we have about Trump and whether or not he's eligible to become the president yet again is squandered by the fact that he failed as president once, and then on the heels of failing, tried to stage a coup against the country. Trump and his supporters quite literally attacked the country.
One of these two people are getting in. Right now, my choice is Kamala Harris. That doesn't mean that anything that she does is going to keep that support. My biggest issue right now is the genocide going on in Gaza, propagated by both the Trump administration and the Biden administration.
Mason's out here spitting facts. I can tell he's progressive right out the gate. Not only did he attack Trump, but he's also holding Harris accountable, and that's what we need more of.
And I'm still having trouble announcing my support for Kamala Harris. It was a big moral decision to even come on the show in support of her. But that's because I don't support her again. I think that Donald Trump is going to be somebody that's far worse for the country than she will be.
So did you know that this is the lowest civilian to combatant death rate of any war in recent history? Did you know that?
Is this going to be a Gaza topic? I'm so ready to go on Gaza. I'm so ready.
That because I can't just let your word genocide go because it's not a genocide. If it was a genocide, it would have ended 2 days later and it would have been fine. Everyone would be dead.
Sheila makes this outrageous claim that genocide needs to happen specifically in this way that she sees it, even though that quite literally, the term genocide means the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation or group. They are using Hamas as an excuse to continue to kill innocent people in Gaza.
I mean, I think as a moral human being that comes from a place of love with strong core values, I can't just give anyone, carte blanche that no matter what you do, you're going to have my love and support. But from, barring anything crazy like the situation that Joe mentioned, it's pretty much 100%. And actually, I am part of Jewish Voices for Trump, and I really appreciate all of the things that he's done for the Jewish people and for the state of Israel as well. So
I don't think the all-in, I'll vote for them no matter what, is the same for Trump as it is for Harris, simply because Trump is just, by so many metrics, a horrible person. Some people can consider Harris a horrible person too. I don't disagree with that, but I think that we can all agree that Trump has done, on a regular basis, far more and far worse things than Harris.
Unfortunately, when I watched the debate, a lot of Republicans were saying that Trump was going to completely obliterate Kamala Harris, and I was one of those people, but I'm the kind of person, I got to be factual and honest, and I can't lie to myself. So let's get the obvious out of the way. It was a little bit bogus against Trump with 1 versus 3. They only fact-checked Trump. They didn't really fact-check Kamala as much as I think they should have.
This is a pretty typical Republican talking point. Everybody already knew before the debate even went on that they were going to say it was 3 against 1 for Harris. It wasn't like that at all. What Zion says next, I completely agree with.
When one candidate lies
fact check
more.
when
When
we're telling the truth
and telling facts.
And basically, the only 2 times that they did fact check was, we don't murder babies after 9 months, and Haitians aren't eating dogs in Ohio.
Well, Kamala Harris perpetuated the myth that Donald Trump said there are fine people on both sides, even though Politico came out and said that this is missing a lot of context.
Do you need to see the video?
When Trump said there are fine people on both sides, he was talking about 2 kinds of people. One were historians who wanted to keep the Robert E. Lee statue in place, and the other group were people who wanted to tear the statue down. So the Antifa, the left-wing individuals, and the historians. These were the 2 groups of people he initially were talking about. Now, the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists and the hooligans who came to interrupt, this was an outside group who came to Charlottesville to stir up trouble.
I think it's funny that whenever Trump does something crazy that we have to kind of try to explain it away. That's a problem in and of itself. If you really sit down and think about who you're supporting and the things that they've done, if you always have to try to give an extra explanation of why what they did wasn't so bad, then maybe that shouldn't be your candidate.
I just really have to stop.
So when Donald Trump
you're referring to them as historians, when we're talking about people who chanted, Jews will not replace us, and neo-Nazi chants that were used in World War II.
He's
talking about
his,
Charlottesville.
What it seems like is historians that were sympathetic to keeping the statues in public view.
And we're talking about a statue of Robert E. Lee, a Civil War general.
But even the historians that you're referencing, if they were actual historians, wouldn't you want those types of statues in something like a museum or somewhere where people can learn the historical context not
is
in the
no
public
right
And let's
side.
image.
talk about
If
what
you-
those
if you-
historians did. They enslaved your people.
My dude, Eric, again, with the straight facts. See, here's the thing. When we lay out reality to a Trump supporter and they try to explain it away, they have to struggle so hard to do that because they're not operating in a fact-based world. When Eric says something that is so simple, you don't even have to try to win. You just do. Because unlike most Trump supporters, we're operating in a fact-based world.
To be honest, I want to extend I have mad respect.
Absolutely,
For
same.
anybody here, any Trump supporter who will stand here in this room and say anything in support of the guy who gave that debate performance.
And that's facts. Because if you're talking about homies for life, I mean, you can't really beat that.
Literally speaking as a Filipino person who for years, we have a play named Dog Eaters on us. It was dog eating and othering of meats were used to other us and to make us feel like some other kind of different, dehumanizing thing because we were eating people's pets. And now they're putting it on Haitians. And now there's bomb threats in Ohio because of this ridiculous thing that he spewed because he got triggered because Kamala talked about how people were walking out of his crowds because he's bored and tired and senile.
And the main reason why I am sitting down is because Donald Trump took too much bait. I think that kind of performance was okay against Biden. And if you guys noticed, a lot of the things he said against Kamala, he said against Biden. About the abortion, the baby being killed after it's born, he never should have said that. About a lot of the points that he made against Biden, and he did it against Kamala too. But the thing is, Biden literally just fell apart and quote unquote died on stage, what we saw last time, and that's why they switched him out with Kamala. So I guess Trump I was expecting him to change his playbook. You have to go after her record.
Well, it's hard to go after her record when she's impeccable, right? We have
The only qualified person there.
A prosecutor, an attorney general, a senator, and a vice president. So for him to go after her, he can't go after her policy because it's good. All he can do is make the same old, she said it herself, the same old playbook, and that's what we saw. And she totally destroyed him. She came with facts. She also just pointed out just how ridiculous the things were that he was saying, to your point about the, eating dogs and all of that stuff. I mean, none of it was factual. It had already been released that none of that stuff was true, and he still put it
all it
forward.
does is
But I
demonize
respect you for
immigrants.
coming forward
I
and
also
admitting it.
So I would say that when I judge, my kids play sports, when I judge who won or who didn't win, I want it to be an even playing field, and I think it should be a fair contest. And I know you guys love Kamala Harris, and you think she has an impeccable record.
Kamala.
Kamala. But CNN has pronounced it 12, 20 times on record,
we're
different
telling you. We're
ways.
telling you how to.
Just like every other person of color who has a
Semantics,
weird
you
name.
guys. Let's not get
It's not
stuck. Let's
semantics.
go to policies.
Can we just
Okay, it's not really semantics, but for the sake of this conversation, I do get why they wanted to move past this. But since we're here, let's pause for a second since I'm doing some commentary on this. First of all, it is a very common thing for people to try to other people by mispronouncing their name. Usually it happens to brown people. This usually comes from the right wing, usually white people, to non-white people, where they try to use their name as a means to other them by mispronouncing it. That is a form of serious disrespect. That is a form of your culture isn't that important and your name isn't that important, and that should not be overlooked. For the sake of this discussion, I do get why they didn't linger on this, but she was wrong there.
So I think that there have been a lot of things that have been fact-checked by social media influencers and commentators like myself on Ms. Harris's policies and what she said as well. And there are certainly things that could have been fact-checked on that end as well. And I want to touch you, I too am an immigrant. My family escaped on the back of a pickup truck from Iran in 1985 while being shot at by border police. I spent a night in the Pakistani deserts. We were caught and we had to escape, and it took 6 months for my family to come here not speaking English. We left everything behind, started from nothing, living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 8 people in it. The reason why I say that is, America is the greatest country on earth, and to erase its history instead of learning from it is what they did in China. Unburdening what has been.
Taking
Let
down
me
a
just finish, you guys. Let me just finish. Unburdening what has been and looking forward to what can be is literally what was used by people trying to get rid of the old and bringing in the new world, like China
the group of people
Communist
being
Party.
affected by those statues are telling you what it's doing to us.
And this is where it becomes important for people to listen to others outside of their own circle. listen to people from other cultures and other backgrounds and listen to their perspectives. While I acknowledge that Sheila is herself an immigrant and a woman of color, even though she is very white passing, she is still ignoring the things that they're trying to tell her because it's a right-wing talking point, essentially. And if it's not because it's a right-wing talking point, then her views are just flawed because she's refusing to look at other people's perspectives.
I don't think either one of them won the debate. I feel like the only people that really lost were, other than them, was the American people. I imagine we can all kind of agree on that.
Yeah, no, I don't agree at all, Joe. Sorry about that. It's very clear that Kamala won. The only polls that say that Trump was winning were unscientific junk polls, according to CNN, that pretty much allowed anybody to click and respond, no matter how old they were, what country they lived in, and it pretty much made the results useless. Every poll that was done by an actual pollster, people like Reuters, Political, that type of thing, they said that Kamala clearly won.
But other than that, it was just a bunch of zingers and like back and forth and
all about ego.
putting your hand up to make sure that the other side knows that you're judging I'm judging you, Trump. Like it was more show than anything. Kamala handled herself. I'll give you that. Like Kamala did a lot better than a lot of people thought she did. I think that's why a lot of people are saying she won, because we all, she did better than Biden. And anybody that did better than Biden, it's like, hell yeah, we have a winner, guys.
Yeah, so far from this debate, I think that I kind of like Joe, but I do disagree with him there. I think his bias is just showing for being on the right wing. I think it's very clear that Kamala won and that she's far more competent. I'll leave it off with that. Obviously, I have my very biased left-wing talking points, but I really love these kind of debates because it really does show that there are real American people that have different perspectives on these views, and even the ones that I don't fully agree with, mostly on the right. I can still kind of get behind where they're coming from because they're talking like real people. I don't think any of them are super extreme. I think these are like what most American people are really like, and then what we're seeing on the news and on YouTube and stuff like that are just the really far extremists on the left or the right. And I think we need to see more conversations with people like this. So I really appreciate Jon and Jubilee for putting this together. It was really fun kind of looking over this. I'll have another one from a similar video pretty soon. If you guys like these kind of videos, if you don't mind, please feel free to like and subscribe. This is a new channel, so I have a few videos in, and then I'm just doing some pretty casual political commentary. I think it's kind of fun. I'm not particularly knowledgeable in politics myself, but yeah, thanks. If you can, just like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.